I'm here with Sarah Heckles. She's the exhibiting artist this month at Lei Gallery. First of all, congratulations on your show.
Thank you.
It was a great success last night,
Thank you.
The work is beautiful.
Thank you for hosting.
Happy too. So your onion skin figures, it's a very unique and interesting kind of art. I've not seen it before. Can you tell me a little about the inspiration for it, how you came to decide to do this kind of art?
Sure, and I hear that a lot actually. So I started making these in 2015, but it wasn't immediately a figure. I actually had just collected some onion skins, and they were sitting around on the counter, and they caught sunlight, and it looked so beautiful to me, sort of like rice paper.
Right.
And I'm a graphic designer, and so I've always enjoyed working with paper and different textures. So I started to scoop these up and threw them in my art studio thinking, I'm gonna do something with these, but I don't know what yet. And just started playing around with it, tearing it, and then adhering it to paper, and not any special form, like a figure that you see here in the gallery, but just sort of seeing how it responded to being pressed on paper. And I thought it looked really beautiful. It kept its sheen, the color didn't change, and it sort of had a look of skin tone as well. So there was something humanistic kind of coming out of it.
Yeah, you get these really beautiful textures and tones.
Yeah.
And it's very delicate too, but also the shapes, right, are so strong, and their irregularity, it seems like, is really like you couldn't. It'd be difficult to mimic, you know.
Yeah, and I honestly, a lot of the shapes, I enjoy that they are so organic. I never cut or scissor the onion skins. I just pull it apart, and a shape might inspire me as a certain part of a body, and that might kick off the figure. Well, it always does in some form or another. Yeah.
I feel like there's a really lyrical nature to the onion skin forms, like just each individual shape, and that kind of is appropriate for the body in motion, right?
Absolutely.
How do you affix them to the paper? Is it just PVC or
Yeah.
glue stick? What do you use?
It's sort of a decoupage white adhesive, sort of like paper friendly. It's nothing fancy. Yeah, and honestly, the glue I've had, I have poured into a glass jar many years ago, and I don't even know the brand anymore. So,
Do you brush it?
I do. I have very small paintbrushes that I use. So
nice.
Like two or three.
The craft is really well done. Like there's no evidence of there being any kind of anything under it. Sometimes you can get too thick with the glue, or it can bleed out from under the sides, and these are all really clean. So
thank you. You're exactly right. There are times that that happens. Yeah, and the onion skins are all really different, and some, in a way, hold the glue a little better, and then some of the glossier onion skins repel it.
Sure.
So it does vary.
So are these different kinds of onions?
Well, they're all Taiwanese onions.
Have you thought of using red onions or even spring onions?
Yes, and I actually have a pretty hardy onion collection in my studio right now. Somewhat categorized by different textures and certainly by colors. The palette is really broad. This collection here uses primarily sort of the traditional gold onion skin, but a couple of these use the red onion. And in this one piece over here that I'm working on for an upcoming collection is primarily the deeper red skin, which I think is just so beautiful and to work with. I mean, I feel like I have this big palette, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
And it makes sense that you said you're a graphic designer, right? Because these are very, I would describe them as a graphic, right? Graphic designery. Like it's shapes and negative space. It's very interesting, and I think you have to have a really good graphic designer's eye to compose these.
Thank you. I do look at the negative space in all of these. The negative space is actually sort of what's holding the form together. It's often the torso. It's like the absence of the material there. I think our eye just naturally fills that in and creates the form. So I love looking at that space just as much as the positive space with the materials of the onions.
Yeah. So you said you were doing a new series. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, so when I started to put the work together for this show, I have a lot of forms that are dancing positions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people see yoga positions or some sort of like athletic ability, but there's a strong dance theme in here. And then I started to see some of the other pieces I've been working on the last year. They still have a rhythm to them, but it's a little bit of a different energy to me. Almost like a more of a tribal dance.
Mm-hmm.
Something just has a different energy to me, and I feel like it's a different collection.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little more wild, I think, a little more organic, and some rougher edges, and a lot more red onion skins.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So the work isn't all dancing onions. You have these beautiful sculptural pieces too. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Thank you. So I just enjoy working with really raw materials. So obviously the onion skins, the leaves, and then clay. And I've worked with clay for a long time. And when I moved to Taiwan, I was trying to find a studio here to work with. And I would say in the last year and a half, I've been making a lot of ceramics. And I really enjoy the unglazed look. Mm-hmm. These are functional pieces. I actually use these quite a bit, these teacups and mugs. And so they're glazed on the inside. But a lot of the pieces are just unglazed, just fired and durable, but not meant to hold water necessarily, more like dried objects.
Yeah.
I just think it's a very pretty look.
There's definitely an aesthetic consistency between these and the onion skin pieces. The obvious tonal ones, but also the kind of the texture to it. It's sort of very, very naturalistic, right? Very raw, kind of, and the way that you've scattered the pine needles around it too, like it really brings it together. It's overall a great aesthetic.
Thank you.
All right, so would you mind telling us a little bit about maybe one or two of your favorite pieces from the show?
So it's difficult for me to pick a favorite because they all are meaningful to me in some shape or form, and I've enjoyed making all of them. But this one I'll talk about. The title is Modern Point, which is a dance term. And I draw a lot of inspiration from dance, especially modern and contemporary dance. I enjoy going to dance shows and looking at dance forms. So I think this one has a strong connection to dance. When you look at it, it feels very much like a ballerina. And I think the pieces in this really evoke a lot of emotion. And also, sometimes it's very difficult to get a very organic, torn shape that has this nice arm bend in it. And I felt like the pieces really came together nicely for this because it's a difficult pose to capture, at least in onion skins. So I was happy with the way this one turned out.
You captured the pose really well, and I especially like how the what do you call them, the striations or the lines in the onion skin kind of follow the form in the torso, and also it looks like there's some shading, like there's a implied light source that you capture. I don't know if
yes,
that was on purpose.
It does, and I think those lines, like you see, also look like a skirt that a dancer might wear. And again, this is just looking closely at all the materials and the folds and colors and tones when I'm pulling from my copious amounts of onion skins. So sometimes I find little gems like that, and they'll become the hero of the piece, and then I have to find the limbs that go with it. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. And
then I have this very small series that I call the Delicate and Feisty Mini Jams, and they're very tiny. A lot of the pieces I work with, even on the larger pieces like Modern Point, I will often use tweezers because they're so tiny and delicate. And many of the onion pieces are also very hardy and thick and sometimes hard to tear. So it's really this full gamut of robustness. But I really enjoy working on these tiny little ones too, and getting very detailed with the tweezers and finding shapes that work. And I really, this Delicate and Feisty Mini Jam, just number 6, they're numbered 1 through 6 in this little series. just is so joyful to me, the way she's doing this high kick. I feel like it's something we all might do if we're really happy.
And they're really well displayed. I like that for most of the bigger pieces, you've chosen the brown frames and just the regular matting, but these ones, they're recessed in the frame, and the white like really makes you focus in on these tiny little figures, and it really highlights them.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it does help draw the attention in. It's like a little dance show.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me, and for putting on such a wonderful show. Congratulations again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting this. It's a beautiful gallery space, and I feel very fortunate to have shown here, so thank you.
Well, happy to. And for people who want to see more of your work, they can go to your Instagram, right?
Yes. It's at sarah.heckles.
All right, and we'll put a link to that under this video.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.